I think one of the biggest silent game design changes over the last 40 years has to do with one particular moment, and that is player death. Player death used to be one of the defining mechanics of a game, shaping your entire playstyle. Exploration, combat, and moment-to-moment decision-making were all impacted by how games were designed around player death. Today, in most games, death feels like a brief reset. You respawn a few seconds just before your failure point and continue almost exactly where you left off. But why? Why give up on the high stakes of dying? Welcome to Game Design Dimension. If you like game design essays, be sure to sub the channel. So why remove the major consequences of player death? In the days of the old, when arcade games took over the world, death was meant to end your run, so that the machine would take a flashy coin from you before you could restart the game. The game made you spend more coins at the arcade with this simple design decision. This design philosophy carried over to console games like Contra and Super Mario Bros., where you had a limited number of lives before you had to restart the game from the beginning. Limited lives drastically impacted playstyle as players approached newer and harder levels with caution instead of curiosity. They remained more careful, and progression became slower as they carefully made their way through dangerous hazards and enemies. This lasted for over a decade. As players grew more attached to their consoles and the business models changed, games like Doom softened the max lives idea and diverted to infinite resets ideology that we still see today. The consoles didn't need players to constantly spend money to replay the same game. Just as the home console system has stayed consistent for the past few decades, so has the design ideology around player death. As games became longer, asking players to replay large sections of content became increasingly difficult to justify, and game designers started using player death as an expressive design system to add a unique flavor to their games. Prey replaced traditional respawns with a Death Walk minigame inside a spirit realm where shooting spectral wraiths refilled health before returning to life. Fable punished player knockouts by permanently scarring the hero's body rather than forcing a reload. Other games like the Dark Souls series explored more punishing consequences. When you die in Dark Souls, you respawn at the last rested bonfire, but you drop all your carried souls at the spot of your death. The game then gives you a single opportunity to recover those souls before you die again, or those souls are permanently lost. This is yet again a way of using death to affect your playstyle. As you accumulate more ruins, your priorities begin to shift. Entering a new situation could potentially cost you a good amount of your progress. Every player has a different threshold of what they consider too many souls to be carrying around. So this system works much better at defining your subjective risk versus reward tolerance as compared to the max lives death system. This death system has led to a whole new genre of games over the last 20 years, called Souls-like games, with recent hits in the genre being Elden Ring and Black Myth Wukong. While Souls-like games were coming onto the scene, another set of games were using player death in a different way. These were roguelites. Games like Hades and Sorrows still follow the old idea of each death sending the player back to the starting point. What is unique about them is their progression system, where every run of the game will provide upgrades and resources that can still be carried forward after death. So even though the visual world is throwing you back to the starting point, you come back stronger and powerful with each run. Now, dying makes you play better and more efficiently, almost as if death is a reward rather than a punishment. What kills you makes you stronger, I guess. Yet the designers did not stop here. Games like Outer Wilds use player death to further develop the player's knowledge of the game world. They don't use weapons or character upgrades as progression. Rather, every loop begins exactly the same way, and the player's world knowledge is what impacts gameplay decisions for the next loop. While these death systems have led to whole new genres of games being spawned, there are others that have uniquely used player death further still. UnderTale uses death as a mechanical and narrative tool that is further used by characters in the games. What this means is that dying will crack your soul, but let you save and load back at a checkpoint. Other characters will notice your deaths and call you out on it. Death in UnderTale will carry weight across timelines. Now looking back, I don't think death became less meaningful or inconsequential because games became longer, easier, or more accessible. Designers removed permanent death to reduce friction so that players can experience more content that the game has to provide. Frequent checkpointing, autosaves, and fast reloads further supported this idea. The trade-off came when game design needed real consequences. The exploration thereof has led to not only certain unique games, but several new game genres being spawned themselves. And every time a game decided to make death matter again, whether through risk, progression, knowledge, or narrative, it changed the way we play. And maybe that's why some of the most memorable games we've ever played are the ones that dared to treat death as more than just a loading screen.